Today, some really strange things are going to happen here. What I'm about to tell you is something you haven't heard or seen anywhere else before, because what's going to happen here is something that no one has ever talked about until now. Hello and welcome to my channel. Today, I want to start by talking to you about the present moment, and through that, introduce myself to you. It's something that has been occupying everyone's mind for a long time. The present moment, everyone has their own way of defining it. The present moment, something that no one has truly understood. I mean, in reality, we always think that we're in the present moment right now. For example, everyone thinks, I'm in the present moment because I'm here right now, but no one has really thought about what that actually means. Why? Why do I keep thinking that this moment is the present just because it's called the present moment, right? There's something I know, and it's something I've been working on for years. These are patterns that many of you aren't familiar with, not because you don't know what they are. No, that's not what I mean, because you have actually dealt with them. You just pay more attention to one thing. And that's these phrases you've heard over and over again. Take the example of the present moment. The fact that it's called the present has made you think that, because it's called the present moment, it's whatever is happening to you right now, in this moment. But that's not actually the present moment. The real present moment is in a place you haven't truly seen yet. You only see it when you're genuinely in it. When the present moment actually happens for you, that's exactly when you're completely caught off guard. You don't even have time to say, this is the present moment. In other words, the moment you don't even have time to say, this is the present moment, that's when you're truly in the present. A lot of people don't even realize that the moment someone asks me, what is the present moment? In that very moment, when I'm thinking about what the present moment is, that's actually not the present moment at all. When the present moment really arrives, it catches all of you off guard. Why do you think you know what the present moment is? The present moment is a time when you can't even think about it. When we enter the present moment, what happens to us is something none of us have any plans for. We have no plans for it at all. Why don't we have any plans for it? Because in that moment, only one thing truly matters to us. For example, when a wolf is chasing us, in that moment we can't think about our home, our money, our possessions, or the things we own. We're only thinking about one thing, that we want to escape from this wolf right now. Why is that? Because we want to save our own life. When it comes to our own life, that's when we realize what we actually had, and we didn't even know it. It's like that saying, one for all for one. We can only truly understand this idea, this phrase, when we are present in the moment. I mean, if we don't have our life, our soul, our spirit, who we are, what actually exists, if we don't have that, nothing else has any meaning for us. Nothing else matters to us anymore. It doesn't matter how much money we have in the bank, where our house is, what kind of car we drive, what's supposed to happen to us, or what our goals were. Nothing else matters at all. The only thing that becomes important in that moment is probably something we've forgotten for years. The real thing, the real essence, is what we experience in that moment, our very own existence. It's something that very few people actually pay attention to. Because there are so many distractions around us, so many activities, entertainments, and different things that have become the center of our attention, we've completely forgotten that something called our own existence even exists. In this moment, something arises within us that had completely slipped our minds until now. Ourselves, our own existence. And today, I want to talk to you about someone, about something that we've forgotten for years. We've forgotten it for years because so many other things have entered our lives that we've completely lost sight of what really matters. The present moment comes into being when, for the first time, you actually see yourself. Yourself, that is, when you realize that if you didn't exist, nothing else could exist either. And the only thing that can allow you to have all the things you love and value now is your own existence. An existence that, because of everything else, gets forgotten, and so often you don't even see it. When we want to talk about this part, it's when you define yourself by other things, like when someone asks you, "Who are you?" You immediately start talking about yourself, saying how many years you've studied. You say your first and last name. You are saying tradition. You say where you were born, but that's not really you. The present moment happens when it really doesn't matter to you how old you are. It doesn't matter to you where you were born, how you came into this world, or even what has happened. The only thing that matters is that you realize, if I'm not here, none of these things have any value. The most important part is that you come to the conclusion that you yourself are what really matters. This is the person who exists, and if this person didn't exist, nothing else would exist either. The present moment happens when you realize that there is someone who can only have all these things if they truly exist. When their life is gone, when the wolf catches them and their life is gone, that person will no longer exist. And when they no longer exist, none of the things that are valuable and meaningful to them will exist anymore either. That's the main point. The essence is you yourself. When you've forgotten yourself, when you've lost sight of who you are, anything else can become malleable to you, and you won't be living in the present moment anymore. It means you've forgotten the essence. Something that, when you don't love it and don't pay attention to it, and only other things become valuable to you. Like the things we have today. There's technology, money, cars, houses, and other things. When your mind gets caught up in these kinds of things and you've forgotten yourself, you can realize it in a single moment. That moment is exactly what we call the present moment. And I want to tell you about the things you've forgotten. Just like this person you've forgotten. You can only truly understand the present moment yourself. You can only realize what the present moment is when, in a single instant, all those things that make up your existence fall away, and the only thing left is you. Just be yourself. That means you can only experience the present moment when nothing else exists except for you. When you forget something. When you no longer remember. In life, if you didn't exist, none of the things you're interested in now would exist either. Here, you lose parts that were actually much more valuable to you, but because you erased yourself, other things came into existence and you could no longer see yourself. I've been working on these topics for years. And that's because I was interested in self-discovery and understanding why I was born. Who even brought me into this world? Who is God? Why were we born? Why are we supposed to be here? And it was this that made me move toward getting to know myself. When I started on the path of self-discovery, all those things that had been bothering me just faded away, and that's exactly the moment of the present, When you find yourself in that present moment, you really can't think about anything else except yourself. That's the moment. That moment is the present moment. And that's where I reached something. I mean, the further I went, the deeper I got. I realized how many things I had lost over the years because of things that were outside of me. What treasures within myself I had missed out on, and that's why I went even deeper. I went so far that I even learned. I learned how to enter the subconscious. The subject of the subconscious is a complicated one. A lot of people have different definitions of the subconscious, but I don't want to use the terms that are commonly used in society. I'm not talking about hypnosis, nor am I talking about quantum hypnosis. I don't deal with these topics at all. Let me tell you what I focus on. For years, I've guided different people inward, into themselves. In other words, I've helped them in a single moment to leave behind the whole world and everything that had occupied their minds, and they had forgotten themselves. In a single moment, I would help them turn all of that off so they could focus only on themselves and go deep within. When they enter into themselves, when, in that moment, they truly find themselves, it's like everything else disappears and something new emerges. There's only one thing that exists, and that's the self. Yourself, the self, your true self. And that moment is the present. That's the moment when you start to see things, to notice things you never even knew about before. Why is that? Because you couldn't even think about it. Because other things had your attention. House, car, money, social status, and, and all the other things. But when I did this for them, when they came in. Now, how I actually got to this point, that's exactly what I want to tell you about. I mean, when I myself, for the first time, wanted to reach self-awareness out of my own desire, meaning to get to know myself. That was when I started discovering things about myself that I couldn't have found out before, and this was one of those things. A talent that was hidden within me. A power that, once I reached it, allowed me to discover things within myself that made the quality of my life better and better. It improved, and as my own quality increased, I was able to see new perspectives. I was able to discover details, and with those details and perspectives, I could first help myself. And then I started working on other people to see if it would work for them too. And what I want to share with you next are experiences that I've gained both from myself and from various subjects whom I was able to take back to distant pasts and even into the future. And the important point is, you might ask, if you're talking about the present moment, then why go to the past and the future? What everyone forgets is that when it comes to the present moment, they think that, for example, the past is in a distant past, the future has not yet come, and the present moment is now. But I want to tell you that no, you are wrong. There is no such thing as these three separate from each other. All three are integrated. It's just that what exists happens in its own time, and if you look closely, they are all in the present moment. This is something that I told you that no one has mentioned before. The past, the present, and the future are all connected to each other. Why? How? Nikola Tesla believed that by using the numbers 3, 6, and 9, we could gain the power to change reality. He repeatedly said that if you only understood the power of these numbers, you would have the key to the reality of the universe. What does that mean? In my opinion, 3, 6, and 9 are exactly the best topic. In other words, the best thing that can show us how the past, present, and future are connected to each other. When we, add 3 and 6 together, it becomes 9. When you add 9 to any number, that number repeats itself again. For example, when we add 9 to 2, we get 11. When we add the digits of the compound number 11 together, that is, 1 plus 1, the single-digit number that results is 2. This happens with any, meaning any number we add to 9, we see that exactly the same number comes out. But the point isn't that the numbers 9, 3, and 6 are only useful for this. No, but it can help us show that things aren't separate from each other. Past, present, and future. The topic of the numbers 3, 6, and 9 is a broad one, and I'll definitely talk more about it as we go on. But what I want to point out here is that the past, present, and future are not separate from each other, and we can actually understand this through these very numbers. That means you'll realize that if we consider these numbers, if we take the past as the number 3 and the future as the number 6, what comes between these two, meaning what is created by adding them together, is the present moment, and we can only be in that moment when, in fact, we ourselves, the sum of those two, come together and end up as ourselves in that very moment. The self that I've been referring to up until now, the one we've forgotten because of the presence of other things. Meaning, we've forgotten it, it's faded over time, and we can only reach that part when we have both of these together. That is, both the past and the future. Leave a comment and let me know if you really want to experience the present moment, or if you still think of the present moment the way it's described in books and other places, because what I want to tell you is about this very present moment. Going forward, I want you to join me, so please share your thoughts with us even more, ask questions, and challenge us. I like to challenge and be challenged, and I want you to ask tough questions. And I want to talk about the present moment, about how it works and what happens. I want to explain it to you in more detail, sharing my own personal experiences and those of others as well. Also, I'd really love it if you'd let me know in the comments if you'd like me to bring someone into the present moment in a future video, so you can see exactly what that person experiences in that moment and how it happens. When you're sitting in a group, let's say there are 3 of you. You're talking about a shared topic, but one person is sitting on your left, another on your right, and someone else is at the center of the story. You're not really thinking about how the person on your left or the one on your right sees things, their perspective toward you. Meaning, those 2 people are looking at you, each from a different angle, not from the same perspective. And you're the same way, whichever direction you look, you're seeing that person from a different angle. This is something that a lot of people don't pay any attention to at all. This story is a good example. You say that you're talking to Nikola Tesla. That person can't believe that you're actually doing this. But that can only happen if you manage to change that person's perspective, because they'll only come to believe that you're actually talking to that character if, and only if, they are able to look at the situation from exactly your point of view. In other words, unless they adopt your specific perspective and truly see things the way you do, they won't be convinced that your words are directed at that character. But since their perspective is somewhere else, they can't accept or believe what you're saying. But how can you make that person understand that this is really happening? Do you want to prove to them that this is happening, or do they need to experience it themselves to realize it's happening? At this moment, when you change perspectives, this only happens when that person discovers something within themselves because they're looking at the issue from the outside. For example, you tell them Nikola Tesla is looking for a sign to appear on the outside, but when you tell them no, what he wants to give you comes from within, not from the outside, don't go looking for it out there. You spent years getting used to searching for signs outside yourself, but you never really paid attention to exploring within yourself and looking for signs inside you, not just looking outward all the time. Now, this is how things are going. Meaning, when that question arises, what actually happens is within the person themselves, and that person only gets to that point when they find it inside themselves. As long as they're looking for you to prove to them that this is really happening, even if you sit there all night or for years trying to convince them that it actually happened, you won't be able to. But all it takes is to put them in that exact moment, in the present. I want to tell you about that moment of the aura. A present moment where you no longer need to prove anything. Because when you're trying to prove something to someone, it means you're not in the present moment. Proving is not for the present moment, because once again, you're looking outside yourself for whatever it is that's preoccupying you. But when, instead of searching outside, you try to find those signs within yourself, that's when you discover things you never even noticed before. In that moment, I want to focus on this topic. When we were recording this video, something strange happened. Now I want to tell you about this as well. I jokingly told one of my friends, a colleague working behind the scenes, that I wanted to talk to Nikola Tesla, and he said, "Well, you have to prove to me that it actually happened." Right as we were filming the video, the light turned on and off. And what happened was that I told him, "Well, that's a sign." But he didn't believe any of this. He said, "Well, that's just something normal." But I'm sure that what is happening right now, he can definitely understand that this isn't something normal. I want to tell him that if he really looks inside himself, he'll realize his perspective has changed compared to before, and he's no longer the same person he was back then. At that moment, he was telling me, "No, like, this can't be what you're saying it is." And I just want to say that you, too, can be like my friend here, who is now sitting behind the scenes. You, too, can take a moment to look deep within yourself and see whether you've ever really looked for signs inside yourself, or if you've always been waiting for something from the outside to come knock on your door or somehow tell you, "I'm here." I want you to explore this, and if you have any experiences, right now, in this very moment, not just any moment, anything that comes to you in this moment, not things from the past, leave a comment and let us know. And I want you to make suggestions. If you'd like, mention the name of a well-known or popular personality in the comments. Would you like me to talk to them? Again, leave a comment telling me to talk to them. I'm not going to say goodbye to you because I don't believe in endings at all. For me, every ending is a beginning. Something new starts with every ending, and every beginning has an end. So I'm not saying goodbye, so you don't think this is the end. But one thing I can tell you is to follow me. In the next videos, I want to share some interesting things with you. For now,